Yakuza series has gotten a lot of love recently. The first two games had HD remakes, and the third through fifth entries had remasters. Not to mention the spin-off game Judgment that came out last year in the West, and there's even rumors we might be getting the Ishin games that were never available here. It's a good time to be a Yakuza fan. And now we finally have the latest entry in the franchise, and in many ways, a new beginning. Yakuza 7, also known as Yakuza Like a Dragon. Hi, I'm Mike and welcome to the Lions Lounge. The original mainline Yakuza games followed Kazuma Kiryu, a former Yakuza who was constantly pulled back into their world despite trying to live peacefully with his adopted daughter. Yakuza 6 saw the completion of his story, but this left a question for fans for where the franchise would go next. Enter Yakuza 7 with a new protagonist, a new story and location, and even a completely new combat system. And I think it's this reason they chose to drop the numbering completely in favor of the subtitle in the West, in the hopes of drawing in new fans. The game opens introducing you to our leading man, Ichiban Kasuga, a low-ranking Yakuza in the Arakawa family, and it's here we get some familiar beats to the first game in the series, and the perfect segue into how Kasuga is similar to Kiryu, but also clearly his own individual. Both were orphans who, growing up, idolized their patriarchs, resulting in them joining the Yakuza. Both are loyal to a fault and believe strongly in honor, and both chose to go to prison for crimes they didn't commit to protect their families. But unlike Kiryu, who had people in the Yakuza looking forward to seeing him when he got out, Kasuga, whose only thought was being reunited with his former boss again, was rejected and left for dead in our new location, Yokohama. And while Kiryu was a solemn and stoic brick house, Kasuga is a lot more outgoing and playful. Basically, Kiryu is Jotaro and Kasuga is Josuke. Hell, even Kasuga's suit is the inverse of Kiryu's. Kasuga dreams of being a hero, a dream further accentuated by his love of Dragon Quest, so much so that he envisions his fights like turn-based battles. And this brings me to two other big changes about this game: parties and combat. Like other entries in the series, 7 has multiple protagonists. How it differs, though, is that instead of swapping between their story and the main characters, they join Kasuga's party and journey alongside him. These include Yu Nanba, a former nurse who's now homeless, Koichi Adachi, an ex-cop attempting to bring his former chief in on charges of corruption, and Seiko Mukoda, a bartender at a hostess club, with more characters unlocked as you progress through the story. Circling back a little bit ago about Kasuga picturing his fights like he's in Dragon Quest, we have quite possibly the biggest change of the series: its combat system. Up until this point, the Yakuza games were essentially beat-em-ups, with each new title adding a little bit more to the formula, but the core concept staying pretty much the same. But with 7, the developers decided to take this in a different direction, instead changing the battle system into a traditional turn-based RPG, complete with job systems, skills, and abilities that are tailored for each character. It's definitely not perfect and there's room for improvement, but I can't really fault the team considering this huge shift. And I can't deny that it's still super fun, owing largely to just how wacky the characters and abilities are. So with all this being said, is Yakuza 7 a worthy continuation to the series? Well, I'd say yeah. Most games in the series have some kind of jank, but it's just so goofy that you can't help but love it. And Kasuga is a huge reason for this. I've mentioned before that JoJo Part 4 is my favorite part, and that's largely due to the cast, Josuke being one of my favorite protagonists. And I know I've used a JoJo reference already, but Kasuga feels like the Josuke of the Yakuza series, and I'm really loving it. Having said that, I hope that it's no surprise that today's cocktail is based on the lovable Kasuga. I made a huge effort to not only match the color of this drink to his outfit, but I also wanted to add some Japanese whiskey for the setting of the series, and a little bit of spice that's unexpected but still enjoyable. Basically, I wanted something bold and unorthodox, much like Kasuga himself. So this is going to be a shake and drink and is going to require several ingredients, some of which you can scale up and down based on your preferences, but after a lot of testing and playing around, this is the ratio I liked. So first up, you're going to want 2 ounces or 60 milliliters of Toki Japanese whiskey. Then 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of lemon juice. Next, half an ounce or 15 milliliters of black cherry juice. Then a 1/4 ounce or 7.5 milliliters of cinnamon syrup. This is just a 1-to-1 simple syrup that had cinnamon added. I'll leave the recipe in the description below. Next, a 1/4 ounce or 7.5 milliliters of Pepper Vodka. This will add a nice little spicy kick to the drink. Then you're gonna do a dash of orange bitters and a dash of Angostura bitters. Now before I shake this, I'm gonna prepare my glass. Take a double old-fashioned glass and a lemon and just gently rim the glass. Then rim the line with some chili powder. Now add some ice to your shaker and give it a shake for about 12 seconds. Then add a big cube to your double old-fashioned and straight into the glass. And lastly, you're gonna garnish this with a slice of grapefruit. So what should we call this drink? Well, Kiryu is the dragon of Dojima, and Kasuga is known as the Rock Bottom Dragon. So I think that's an appropriate name. Cheers to the Rock Bottom Dragon. Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted in terms of taste. So let me just give you an idea of what I just had. This drink has a combination of a lot of flavors. So first off, you taste the fruitiness of the black cherry, which is also a little bitter, combined with the tartness of the lemon juice. And then that gives way to the Toki, which is a pretty sweet whiskey. Not as sweet as something like a bourbon, but definitely not dry. And then at the back end, you get the Pepper Vodka, which adds some nice spice to it, but it's not hot, it's just a little spicy. And then at the very end comes that cinnamon syrup. The cinnamon syrup adds a little sweetness, but also is something a little extra, and it has a great combination with the rest of the flavors here. I initially tried this with just regular simple syrup, and it does add sweetness to it to help offset the bitter and tart flavors, but I liked it a lot more with the cinnamon syrup because it just added a little more complexity to the drink. And obviously the chili powder adds a little bite of spice. So there you have it, the Rock Bottom Dragon. Today we talked about Yakuza 7, the latest entry in the series, and hopefully an indication of good things to come. If you like this video and want to see more, please like and subscribe. If you have any cocktails from your favorite games or series you'd like me to make, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see what I make outside this channel, follow me on Twitter at Mr. Spacelion or Instagram at Mr.Spacelion. Real quick, I want to shout out my friend who had this awesome new sign made for me. It came out great and I'm really excited to have it featured in the new videos. But thank you so much for stopping by the Lions Lounge. I'm Mike, and I hope to see you next time.